So
I thought a lot about it. I think there's a lot of positives to the movie. I think there's a lot of negatives to the movie. I think my biggest negative is the lack of Guardians music.
they're dumping tons of money. All the people that are saying a year ago or 2 years ago, podcasting is dead. Let's see high quality, like short form content if you want to be a successful creator. They're now reverting back and saying, look, the next generation of YouTube is all podcasting. Like do content that feels like a podcast and promote it as a podcast.
Great, but nobody listens to shorts on their way to work.
There's two movies. Sound of Music's one of them. The other one is
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Both of those movies star a lead woman. Hundreds. They're so long, there's got to be hundreds of scenes where they are not talking to or talking about a man. Okay?
Yeah. Sean Connery was a dog.
Connery has such a unique charm to him. You want to kiss him right now.
Dude, I can't take it. Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks podcast, everybody. All you guys, gals, geeks, goofballs,
And all you crazy crack dads.
You bringing that back?
Yeah.
No, don't bring it back. So
I haven't had a catchphrase in a while. I don't know, I've been busy and I haven't, gotten any new catchphrases.
So,
It's okay.
yeah. Look, recently we were just talking about a man called Otto before we started rolling. Tom Hanks has been in a lot of frou-frou, feel-good movies lately, and I'm trying to figure out why.
This has been Tom Hanks for his career, just he was a lot younger.
It's a lot different than the story
recently
called
he's been-
Wilson or Turner and Hooch,
Recently, he's been in a lot of,
He's played Geppetto in like a not very well-known Pinocchio Disney
What's
film.
the one where they're building a house?
I don't
with
know.
The lady. I haven't seen it. I just know it's like house renovating.
I don't know.
It's one of his bigger ones.
But
What do you think's going on? Is he getting ready to retire?
He's old and he's doing more feel-good movies. I didn't have a problem with his performance.
Yeah. He's a good performer.
His performance was really good as crotchety old man.
Which some men, some old men lose their ability to perform well as they get older.
He's killing it.
Now, was it
a
performance like Terminal? No.
Was it a performance like Forrest Gump?
No.
Was it a performance like Castaway?
Or Saving Private Ryan.
Or The Green Mile?
Or Woody.
Or freaking, I don't know. What is that one called?
The Green Mile?
Yes. He was the lead.
I'm thinking the Big Red One.
What is the other one that I looked up a couple weeks ago? It has Jude Law in it. And I cannot ever remember the name of it, but I like it. He's really freaking good in that one.
I know. I remember our conversation about Jude Law, but I don't remember.
It's always good podcasting, and this is something that I think the next generation of our, and when I say next generation, meaning like 5 years from now, will be extremely good at, is we will have so many conversations and we have podcasted for so long at that point that truly we won't be stumbling over our own thoughts.
Yeah, we don't stumble as much as we just forget names of things, and so that just throws us off.
I have become so much better at remembering names.
You can have a
You
can have a great podcast without the name forgetting.
Yeah.
But our podcast is about movies, so we have to recall so many names.
But it takes a lot of effort to remember the names.
Yeah.
Now, outside the podcast, I can...
Yeah.
Joshua can too, and he's notoriously can't remember things.
Yeah.
But Joshua
But once
remembers
you
a lot
get-
more.
I'm telling you, once you get on the podcast, you can't remember the name of... Like, I know what Jude Law movie, Tom Hanks movie you're talking about.
Because you guys started it.
Can't remember.
Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition.
That's the one I'm thinking
Yeah.
about. And see, it comes to you when you stop forcing yourself to remember it. Now, you guys didn't
Polar
watch...
Express.
Oh, heck yeah. He did motion capture for it. What is it? Performance capture. For that specific movie.
That's the name for something.
You guys didn't watch the video, but for everybody watching, podcasting is truly the next big thing for YouTube,
It
which is
seems like-
crazy to say it's the next big thing.
It seems like they're gearing up. Like they're...
So
100%.
we had a conversation about this last night about why YouTube is doing this podcast thing.
It's the next big thing, and I have a lot of theories about this video that you guys didn't watch. I'll tell you about it.
Well,
Well, it's not one of the segments, so, keep it short.
Dude,
No.
what is
Can
it?
I say what I was going to say?
35% of this podcast.
No, last year and the year before that, Spotify, not YouTube, said we're taking podcasting. Podcasting is ours. We're gonna pay over $100 million for the 2 top podcasts of the right
for
now.
both of them, freaking
Joe Rogan.
way more than over 100
Well,
million.
just for the top 2. The top
For
two
the top two,
on
yeah.
the chart. Joe Rogan, and then Call Her Daddy, the female-led podcast, and they paid them both over $100 million to be exclusively on their platform.
Give them the video versions.
Yes,
all that.
and so YouTube said, "Not today, Spotify. We are
today,
going
not today."
to." I don't know what they're going to do to Spotify, but they're going to get it back.
What's funny is YouTube keeps doing this.
Yeah,
Twitch comes and becomes the biggest live streaming website on the planet, gaming website on the planet, and YouTube goes, no, wait, hold on. That's our thing.
We
wanted to do that. Actually, they started doing it
Wait a
after
minute.
Twitch, so they were like, hold on, we can do this too, and now they're doing the same thing
Why?
with the podcast.
Google and YouTube have always been doing this. First, it was like Bing search, and then Google said, "Not today, Bing."
Yeah, they're like,
Not the Bing search."
wait.
And they became Google
Hold
search.
on, but Google created an empire, and YouTube was created before Google. Google bought YouTube, right? So here's the long of it, I guess.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything until Google bought it.
So not Kathleen Kennedy, the lady who runs YouTube for years, the one in charge. I don't know her name. It doesn't matter.
Susan Wojcicki.
Her and Kathleen Kennedy are in the same the same little bit.
No, I would say
Yeah.
the YouTube is way more powerful than.
Sure, but it's because of the creators, not because of her.
But Mama
It doesn't
Su-
matter.
Mama Susan.
Mama Susan.
She's called colloquially.
Okay, listen. She has recently been left
Yes.
Yeah.
YouTube, and
Yeah,
a
we'll
big
see.
part of that, all right, and this is actually something that a lot of YouTubers are pivoting on currently. Short form. We're talking shorts, all right? So during the pandemic, and right before when TikTok and Instagram was blowing up with Reels and all that, YouTube's like, we are the #1 video platform. Why do we not have the corner on this market?
The short market.
The shorts market. So they did it, but it wasn't working because there's not people that are watching shorts and then watching your long form stuff. So YouTube for a few years have been having issues with this bridge. Let me finish before you got your 2 cents. They haven't had a strong bridge so you can grow an incredibly large audience with shorts, but nobody watches your long form content. Then they say, you're going to be able to start making money from shorts, right? And everyone was freaking out. You're making like 45% of the income? And they were saying, they were giving us crazy numbers. Well, recently, now that you make income from shorts, everyone is seeing that's basically BS. Because
Yeah, it's only
you
a
can
small
get, I think someone did like 100 million views on their
Yeah.
shorts and made $2,000.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you don't do those kind of numbers.
It's interesting though. Why is YouTube doing this now? Because we saw this shift with Viners. There was I would say our YouTubers today, or not even anymore because they've kind of fallen off at this point, were a bunch of them were Viners. A bunch of them were
Yeah,
Viners.
there was that generation of YouTubers. Then the Viners became the YouTubers.
Why did YouTube not do long form and short form content at that time? They should have said, "Oh, Vine's dying. Let's pick this up." But it took Musical.ly to get popular for them to say, "Oh, we're going to do this now."
And then they see something is really popular, and that was the thing. Vine died. That's why they didn't invest any money into it, because they're like, here's this big, huge platform that just died.
Yeah, but it died, and people were disappointed that it died. There was so many people,
but
that
they
still
don't
wanted
care
it.
about they don't care about people. They care about numbers. So if something is popular and alive, they want to do that. And the reason that they do it, the reason that the live works now and the shorts work now is because they just dump money into it. They see something is popular, they get jealous and decide that they're going to dump a ton of money into
And it
making
takes them a year and a half to do it right. We're just
And
now
so-
getting the shorts and the lives tabs on
So
their
you're
channels.
talking about podcasts. Tell us a little bit more about the podcast.
So what they're doing is YouTube is figuring out. There was a big research study done. All right, it doesn't matter that Spotify is the #1 audio platform in the world. When it comes to podcasting, even with them we're a few years deep into it. We just got over 1,000 views on our Spotify, 1,000 listens or views with our video podcast. That's crazy because we've been posting there for years.
and we have way more listens on YouTube.
Way more. So here's the thing. When it comes to podcasting, audio and video, people, it's like for consumers, it's like 60 to 70% will consume on YouTube. And then the rest of the percentages, like 30-something%, are viewing not on Spotify, but on all the other platforms spread out.
Yeah.
So YouTube says, frick, why don't we just make our platform more cohesive and spend a lot of money to say, if everyone's already watching podcasts here, let's just make it cater to podcasting and we can start advertising in the podcasting space. So what they're doing is they essentially allow you to create a playlist that you quantify as a podcast, which we've done. We do it for our long form and our clips on the studio channel. So we can get views on both. And what they're doing is they're allowing you to either listen or watch the video on YouTube Music. So that is traditionally a audio platform, YouTube Music. It's kind of like Spotify. It's very similar to Spotify. But now you can also listen or watch podcasts on that platform.
And
it does it automatically from your YouTube channel.
I'm curious though, and this is something this is more technical, because it's music, a feature that I really like. I can scroll out of YouTube and still be watching the video, but be doing something else on my phone if it's checking emails or something like that. You cannot with music because exclusively YouTube doesn't want you to click out while still listening to music because you're there.
Right.
They have that weird thing where you have to pay for premium, I think.
You want to, and here's the real kicker when it comes to YouTube Music. It is attached to Google, which is the search engine. All these other platforms do not have a search engine. So if you're on Spotify and you want to listen to one of our podcasts, say you want to listen to us talk about Top Gun, you have to go Wiseworks podcast, so you have to know who we are first.
Right.
And then you have to say, you have to scroll through and find our Top Gun because they don't have a search engine. YouTube Music does. So you can literally type in comedy podcasts reviewing Top Gun and we will come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to know who we are. So the recommendation and searchability on a platform like YouTube Music, and you don't have to compete with every other YouTube video about Top Gun.
That's
because
cool.
people are looking for podcasts about Top Gun on that platform. So we are not competing with all the rest of the YouTube videos.
cool.
We're just competing with other podcasters.
And we have tons of podcasts.
Tons. That's what I'm saying, and I think that's kind of when we're. If you notice our numbers, we're kind of.
I don't want to do that. I don't
We're
want to
kind
do
of
that.
scooting up.
I don't
right?
wanna,
Look, I think you're right. They've already established you got video, you've got lives, you've got shorts. Podcast makes sense.
Yes.
Because everybody has a podcast.
Yes.
And so they're dumping tons of money. All the people that are saying a year ago or 2 years ago, podcasting is dead. Let's see high quality, like short form content if you want to be a successful creator. They're now reverting back and saying, look, the next generation of YouTube is all podcasting. Like do content that feels like a
Shorts-
podcast and promote
Shorts
it as a
are great,
podcast.
but nobody listens to shorts on their way to work.
They're backtracking. All the creators are backtracking and saying, I'm not going to do shorts until I'm super popular now because that's the only way it's going to work. I think people that are smart meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Your short should be searchable because shorts are now coming up when you search something in the search bar, like a question. People want a quick answer, so they're more likely to click on a short to get that answer. And they might like you and what you did for them, giving them the answer, so they might subscribe to you and watch your long forms. The problem, and podcasting, People like podcast short clips, and they'll search the podcast if they enjoy the short clip. However, just general shorts of like meme stuff, people aren't getting conversions.
You know what people are searching these days?
What?
That's with our podcast. Something that came out last weekend.
What's that?
I'm trying to transition to the first segment. I know.
Let Wyatt transition. This is his podcast.
I'm letting the conversation roll for a minute because I don't have as many segments.
Also, freaking, you felt I kept cutting you off. You felt like you had something to say.
I don't remember what it was.
Well, I was just saying, you were saying no one listens to short form on the way to work.
No, they don't.
Right. That's why I think having a podcast tab is important, because on one page, you can listen to somebody's live content, you can listen to somebody's video content, you can listen to their podcast content.
Right.
And if you like their short content, you can go on there and scroll through that too. I don't foresee people doing that unless it's a meme page that only exclusively does shorts for memes.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing, and I think it's going to keep climbing
Right.
as time goes on. And so you think YouTube is reviving podcasting
100%.
in name, podcasting,
Because the thing is, people
having conversations
is a
for other
podcast.
people to hear is gonna live on forever.
Yes, and a lot of people are calling something that's not intended to be a podcast. A lot of people are, because they're trying to jump on this train, but it doesn't matter. It revives podcasting. It revives this style of content. And if you want to know what is going to be the next big thing, if you want to start seeing numbers like we see on shorts, but in a new space that they're currently dumping tons of money into, it's lives.
They are doing,
Because there's a different algorithm for live
podcasts.
There's a different algorithm for live streams, because live streams are the way to connect personally with the creator.
That's why, have you guys seen a lot of people are just uploading their videos
As a
Yeah.
live.
as a live video?
Yeah.
And
Because
the
you
thing
can,
is,
because every time you go onto your feed, it shows this person is going live in 11 hours. But that video is there and you always see it.
Yeah, most people upload their podcast like that these days.
yeah, and they do the live tab is their podcast, and they do their videos tabs is all the clips and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, live, it's not fully implemented yet, but lives are really going to be a big thing for sure.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first segment.
All right.
Which is, we're going to do a brief, we're not going to linger on this too long, spoiler review
Okay.
of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We promised this last week.
So you're gonna give it? I didn't know there's a dog in the story.
Yeah, it's Cosmo.
Yeah. He's been in a minute. He was a Ravager.
Oh,
Part of the Ravager.
Okay,
Ravager
okay,
crew,
okay.
I would say.
so you guys gave
No,
your
Cosmo
rankings.
was caught by the Collector. Remember? He had all the things in the different cages. Cosmo
Yes.
was one of those.
So
But he came in because of the Ravagers, though, right?
Yeah.
I think there's
Cosmo joined the Ravagers.
yeah
at some
there's
point.
there's a big because of the last movie, this and the second movie kind of brought into this one. There's a lot more Ravagers in it, even though we saw Yondu in the first one.
Yeah.
There's more with the Ravagers.
I'm gonna start by like my big things that I liked.
Okay.
Can I give a brief recap of what you guys said last week, since you guys will be
Yeah,
giving
yeah,
your
yeah,
opinions?
yeah.
So I'm going to give what you guys said and what the internet says about this. It's good. It's not amazing. It's not a bad Marvel film,
Yeah.
but it didn't blow your socks off, and it definitely is not reviving people's interest in Marvel.
Well,
that's
I
what
will
you guys
say,
said, and then
I wasn't
everybody
wearing socks
online
when I watched the
Look,
movie. So
everybody online was saying the exact same thing you guys said last week.
Yeah. So
Middle of the road.
so the things I liked, Rocket Story
yeah,
is some of the best Marvel storytelling
it was good.
ever. And I liked, like I said before, I liked Drax and what's her face?
Mantis.
Mantis. I liked Drax and Mantis relationship. I liked Peter. I liked the characters.
Right.
The things that didn't work were the music.
Some of the music, not all. Some of it worked. Most of it
wasn't.
didn't.
It wasn't the music itself. It was how the music was used when it was used.
Yeah.
Because this was an extremely emotional movie, and then occasionally, you wouldn't linger on that emotion for
Right.
too long. You would just switch to a happy-go-lucky music thing. Rocket is literally screaming and crying in a flashback, and then it's like, it's like,
Just doesn't
on.
fit the vibe.
yeah, and then the High Evolutionary, excellent performance. I mean, the guy killed it. He was a villain. He was evil. He wasn't on this line of, I'm kind of evil.
But
No, he was a bad guy.
But with that, even though he was a good character, I think my opinion of his story, not discluding the Rocket portion of it, because I think they had a good relationship, and that was how Rocket's story was good. But he was just trying to do the same thing that Peter's dad did in the second movie of create this world, create a new world that was, the perfect world.
Well, I think,
it was just a
Ego's
redo of
thing
the
was,
second
I
one.
want everything to be perfect because I think I'm perfect.
Yeah.
High Evolutionary was, I'm trying to create perfection out of imperfection.
Yeah, but I'm tired of seeing this. I want to build my own world thing.
And
that was dumb.
Yeah, that's understandable. But I think his performance is one of the best villain performances I've seen. He was evil. He was scary. He was,
His outfit was a little cartoon-esque.
That's fine. I liked it. It was.
I wish they would mute some of these colors. These
No,
Marvel
no,
colors are
no,
way
no,
too vibrant.
Not in Guardians.
Not in Guardians.
In Guardians.
Okay, fine, not in Guardians.
You want, this is what we want.
Sure.
I don't need this in Thor, but I want it in Guardians.
Yes. They have tried to do it in Thor, and that's what made Love and Thunder so bad.
Mute the colors, make it a little bit more moody.
Because
Goodness.
it worked in Guardians, they want to do it in Thor.
The
but
other
no.
thing regarding the music that I wanted to mention, they don't use the Guardians theme nearly. I think they use it once. That bum 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 ba-da-dum.
Yeah, they only
They
did
use
like
it like
pop,
one time.
They only did like pop culture,
and it's in a
like,
terrible
stuff.
moment. Rocket's like flying a thing, and he hits a bunch of mutant things and scrapes them across the ship, and it goes bum 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 ba-da-dum, and then it's over. But that was like the big thing in the first and second movie. They hold hands.
Theme.
You play that excellent theme. The beginning of the second movie, they're fighting, and it opens with that theme. It's just
Right.
They didn't use that nearly enough.
So, to quick recap, I want to see, since this is the last Guardians of this band of individuals. So, some of the mains. How does Peter's story end? Since this is a spoiler review.
So they break up. The crew breaks up.
Peter goes to go see his
grandfather.
on
Earth. Okay.
Mantis goes to try to find herself, I guess. And Drax stays in Nowhere, where their base is. Gamora becomes the mayor of Nowhere, and
Gamora's sister, what's her name? Nebula?
Nebula, yeah.
Nebula.
Gamora goes back to the Ravagers.
Gamora. Gamora is a Ravager in this movie.
So she.
So Nebula becomes the mayor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Ravagers, like Stallone and his crew that showed up in the second one, they show up for like 2 seconds as like this shoehorned in thing to introduce that Gamora is part of the Ravagers.
Well, at the
What about,
beginning and at the end.
And at the end,
Groot, what happens to him?
Groot and Rocket hang out. They stay.
So
together.
they become like Gimli and Legolas at the end of Lord of the Rings.
Well, they were together at the beginning.
Okay,
the first-
yeah.
So
they're not disbanding from each
Rocket
other.
becomes the captain of the Guardians. Cosmo, Kraglin, Groot, Adam Warlock,
Yeah.
and then another girl are the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So they redeemed Adam Warlock.
So this is my biggest complaint.
He
of the
was
movie.
not a character like
This is
at
my
all.
biggest complaint because Adam Warlock is one of the biggest Marvel characters in the Marvel comics.
Characters or villains? Or I guess but they're both.
He's both.
So-
Villain and good guy.
He's not and good guy?
yeah.
Okay.
Like
break it down for
And
me.
they
Break it
did
down.
so-
like nothing with him.
Somebody, I think it was Gary from Nerdrotic explained it like, they did doing the Infinity Saga without Adam Warlock was a crime.
Okay.
And then to bring him in like this and bring in an excellent actor to play him, they really didn't do him justice.
Eyebrows.
I think. Yeah.
And they hyped him up. They're like, he's been working out. He's been doing
Right.
his thing. He wasn't even that big. Like,
Right. Was he covered up the whole time?
I feel like
He's covered up. He took his shirt off once, and he did. He looked good.
Yeah.
But
it kind of looked they gave him the Edward Cullen treatment and just spray painted his abs
I
on.
think he looked genuinely, good. But again, they misused him.
Yeah,
They used him
definitely
as a
did.
prop,
He played the same character that he plays in every movie. This
side character.
dumb kid character.
Like
of,
Eustace?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Eustace from
exactly
Narnia?
like Eustace
Dang
and
it.
Meet the Millers.
Yeah, he just
played the
was.
exact
he was.
character.
He was a joke. They made a joke out of one of the
Most iconic
one of the
villain
most
slash
iconic characters.
redemption stories?
because
Probably.
they had to make his mom the villain, not him.
They made her a villain in the second one.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
he had to be like under her.
Right, and then they had this thing where it's like, oh, the high evolutionary made their species, so they're afraid that he'll destroy their planet. That makes sense, but I wanted to see him become a superhero in this movie. I wanted to see him be a big character in this movie.
So they just did dirty by Adam.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have even brought him in if they were going to do him this way.
The only thing that he did was save Quill.
Save Peter, which was
then,
good.
But
And that should have been Gamora.
no, well,
Because remember,
yes, maybe,
because
but
of the way that he saves her in the first movie, a little bit of roundabout storytelling, have her do that very same thing to him and pull him in.
yes, that would have
Especially
been
with the
better.
hard feelings, right?
but-
Because of the weird feelings throughout the film
Why does
about...
he have to be saved at all? He has the earpiece that becomes a helmet. That's part of his thing. Why
So-
did he not have that on?
He didn't have that in the entire movie, and it was stupid.
Yeah,
He didn't have his rocket boots, and he
Yes.
didn't have his helmet.
he didn't
But
have.
So he wasn't Star-Lord.
No.
He had his elemental guns,
Mhm.
which apparently only shoot lightning blasts and not like fire and ice.
Yeah.
like they did originally. So yeah, no, he does save him, which I saw coming, but it should have been Gamora
Okay.
Yeah.
to harken back to that first thing where they were kind of enemies. She went out in space and he went and saved her.
Right.
Mhm.
And in this, where they're not really friends, she should have gone out and saved him. That would have been
Yeah.
a really, really good writing moment.
To be honest, and this is I haven't seen the film yet. Honestly, seeing the Guardians play a big role, especially Gamora and Nebula in the Avengers with Thanos, and then seeing them pop up at the beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder, I just kind of feel like the Guardians, they were coming into this movie with the Guardians as a team really nerfed, There are so much more bigger things outside of the team that was affecting the team. And so the interests of, Peter and Groot and Rocket and Drax, all these people, and Gamora's relationship inside of that, the relationship of these characters just felt uninteresting because they've been bombarded upon by all these outside forces. So the story of Guardians of the Galaxies has been kind of nuked from the inside by all these other Avengers spinoffs.
I think I don't think it affects it as much. I think this is a fairly isolated trilogy.
Okay.
And one of the big issues I have is when the High Evolutionary blows up a planet with creatures on it that the Guardians interact with on a personal level. They go into their living room, they lay on their couch, they
became friends.
He blows up this planet, and where the Guardians were like in the first movie, they're like, we have to stop this guy from blowing up this planet. They're in this one, they're like, well, we have to save Rocket, so these people are gonna die.
This is Avengers level devastation. and it's
Avengers
not,
level devastation on a worldwide Earth-like planet with sentient beings.
and it's not really mentioned.
And yeah, it shows that the High Evolutionary is ruthless.
But it's like no one. It's not impactful.
But that should have been a moment for him to become a superhero, for him to save those people who are dying.
Mm-hmm.
To see, and that's what the Guardians should have been doing too, honestly. They saved the kids on the ship at the end and the animals and everything, and that's great, but...
That's a ship compared to a world.
Right, it's an entire world.
Oof, they're not much of the Guardians if they
Right.
let a whole world slip. You know what I mean?
They let an entire world slip in this
Yeah.
one.
Dang.
And then my other biggest complaint, in the fight at the end, they keep breaking windows in space.
Yeah.
They keep breaking windows with no consequences in outer space.
And until they want it to be a consequence where
Peter
is out in space and
so
he's about
I
to
thought
die.
they kept breaking windows and like standing on the edge with no guard or anything in the vacuum of space, or spacesuits or anything, and there's no consequences. And then when this, I was like, oh, okay, so
everyone suffocates and freezes to death instantly in this.
like that.
Instantly.
Right. Unless, maybe Gamora, maybe Nebula can survive it for a couple seconds, but all the rest of maybe Drax, everybody else dead instantly. But even then, it was longer than a couple seconds. So I was like, okay, maybe they're in a portion of space that kind of has an atmosphere. Oh, they're close to nowhere, which we know has an atmosphere inside. Maybe this is what I was like. I was trying to believe. And then,
Wyatt just doesn't believe.
And then
I honestly don't believe it just by the description. Breaking
like,
windows in space is always a red
Rocket
flag.
is flying a ship, and a thing busts in the window.
Yeah.
We are in outer space. He freezes and dies instantly. Also, these creatures are flying in space. They're partially organic. They're dead instantly. Radiation and the vacuum of space kills them instantly.
Yeah.
That and then of course, I Love You Guys from Groot. And the end.
Yeah,
you mentioned that last week. You don't have to harp on that too much.
The ending kind of, I'm glad it ends happy and kind of sad, kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quickly, give me some. Well, you kind of sprinkled in some positives there, but like I guess you like the fact that he's a Guardians at the end.
I like Will Poulter as Adam Warlock. I wish he was a bigger character. I like all the characters. I like the High Evolutionary. I loved Rocket's story. It was
you like the way
emotional.
Peter's story ends.
Kind of like the way all their story ends.
Okay, except maybe the go off to find herself. What's her face?
Well,
Mantis.
No, it felt good.
It actually, aside from the negative connotations to the I need to find myself kind of lines,
narrative.
It's like, it makes sense. She was with Ego her whole life, and then she was with the Guardians, and she doesn't.
She is a little lost personality wise.
She's been leaning on Drax especially, and then even Kraglin got his little roundabout story. In Cosmo, they got their little roundabout story.
And there was
to use the whistle arrow.
A whistle arrow scene like you wanted.
Very, very good.
Didn't they? I heard on a different review that it took him like the whole movie to figure out the whistle arrow.
He's in the beginning, and then he's in the end. Yeah.
Okay, but he's like training the whole time. He's trying to figure it out.
Right.
Freaking! I just want Yondu back, man.
Yondu shows up in one scene.
Yeah.
It's for Kraglin.
I just want him back. He was so cool.
He was good.
So freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
So
that's Guardians.
That's 1 out of 10.
You did this last week, and you're gonna.
I know. What did we
change your
say?
reviews
We
last
said
week.
it was what you said 4.
Yeah,
I said
you
5.
did a 4.
Yeah.
It was middle of the road. So
I thought a lot about it. I think there's a lot of positives to the movie. I think there's a lot of negatives to the movie. I think my biggest negative is the lack of Guardians music.
Okay.
If the Guardians theme had played more often, I would have felt like there was more heroism. But this movie didn't feel like it had enough Guardians. It felt like we're saving Rocket.
So
the movie.
I'm a bit torn online, and this is shifting a little bit more towards James Gunn specifically. Okay. I'm a bit torn because everyone's like, James Gunn has made some stuff that everyone loves, but equally he's made stuff that a lot of people hate. Like most of his DC stuff, no one's interested.
Yeah.
But they love Guardians. And I'm just kind of like,
I will say,
why do we put so much faith in James Gunn when traditionally he kind of lets us down more than he gives us enough?
One of the writers that kind of balanced him out in the first and second movie wasn't in this movie.
Okay.
He had basically free reign.
Whatever that writer's name is, maybe we'll get his cut from this movie.
He wasn't involved, so he didn't get. He was sort of balancing out James Gunn.
Okay.
But I think this movie, the craziness to it was because James had free reign.
So do we just, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards the fact of just, I don't care what he does for DC. I'm kind of thinking, Because what he did, Suicide Squad. He did the
He did the second Suicide Squad,
That's
which people,
worse.
which people liked better than the first one.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
But it was Guardians of the Galaxy.
But what was John Cena's character?
Peacemaker?
The Peacemaker. He also did that movie, right? I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know if I like James Gunn's directing.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, I think if he does something good, it's probably somebody else that was helping him. You know?
Maybe.
I don't know if I'm a fan of James Gunn.
He seems pretentious to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's that white,
sure,
that white
you can be
hair that's
pretentious.
sticking up in there.
Well, it's like, that's what's with that look? It's like he does that same look because pretentious directors have to have a look.
I like.
His is
I'm
that
okay
hair
with the look.
beard.
Everybody needs a look. Every director does need a look. It's a part. It's a part of the job. And I'm learning to come into myself. Right. When I get back to directing movies, my films and such, I gotta have a look.
No, you don't.
I do.
Please don't. It makes
I
you
will
look
have a
pretentious.
look. You know, when Jordan Peele started directing movies, he let himself go gray. He got a little thicker,
I'm already doing that.
beard and very shaved head. He's not letting that hair like get longer than a centimeter. You know what I mean?
I think having a look as a director is pretentious.
I love it. Tim Burton, freaking
Yeah.
one of our
Pretentious.
finest.
Pretentious.
Tim Burton is one of our finest. Now, Tim Burton had long hair like me when he was younger. When he was doing like Batman and stuff, it was long hair and he looked like he was I don't know, a drummer for a band. You know, just the curly hair. But I think Peter Jackson, he has a look. Just messy,
guy?
unkept.
Yeah.
Just messy and unkept.
A fat guy? Yeah.
Unkept.
No, I think it's pretentious. to have a
Disregard
look.
for himself and full regard for the story. That's what I get.
Maybe that's it.
You know, what? James Cameron, just buttoned up. He looks like he's a boy that's trying to
He looks like a
become an
normal
accountant.
guy.
He looks like he's trying to become an accountant, with the exception of the swoop hair he had at one point. I'm just saying, directors
more
have
like
looks, and I love that they have looks. It's personality.
It's pretentious.
I love it.
I know I'm gonna keep saying
Yeah, yeah.
pretentious, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretentious.
Look, if you're a good
It's
director,
good.
you're allowed to be
It's
pretentious.
fine.
if you're a good director, then your look should be how your movies are, not how you look physically.
But the thing is, like, I have more respect for a director who has a look, and sticks with it, and that's his look.
Yeah.
Or
I
her
like a
look.
director that dresses like a normal dude.
I don't know, dude. I
He
kind of
doesn't have to do his hair and shirts and pants the same way for years so that people know
There's
what he looks
comfort to
like.
that. There's comfort to that. You know, when you see them pop up in the behind the scenes.
You're an
and-
apologist.
No, I think
You're
he's
an
got this
apologist.
thing
For
with
directors,
director
a
apologist.
decade look. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
His look, he's got this decade look,
Yeah.
which you're not on right now. You're
I
not
am.
following the path.
Yeah, it's your long hair.
It's longer hair and stubble, but mostly short facial hair. My 30s, it's going to be short hair and beard.
Okay.
That's my 30s, and more tattoos. A lot more tattoos in my 30s.
Yeah.
Now, but right now it's the long hair, which I might trim. I'm not sure yet. I might trim, but it's still going to be longer. So I don't know. Yes, the decade look is a thing, and I think you should strive for a look that does set you apart, that doesn't make you look like a normal dude or a normal lady. Like, freaking try some stuff out. Actors are the ones that
I'm
can
just-
try things
look.
out all the time. Directors find a look
I
that
think
makes you
it's-
unique and
yeah,
roll
it's fine.
with it.
Look, I think George Lucas had the best idea. It's
George Lucas is a look.
you tuck in
He's
what do
got.
you call it? What do you
He's
call
not
it?
a
plaid-
normal
You
dude.
tuck in a plaid shirt into a pair of jeans and wear
Yeah.
some New Balance.
He's not. His normal look's not. He's shaved to give himself that little thin,
Yeah.
the little thin chin strap beard.
Yeah.
He has a look. He
got
has a look.
He just
and it's
seems like
intentional.
he should be selling
he
me an
seems like an old
iPad
guy.
over a movie, a Star Wars
You
movie.
got Steven Spielberg, who's always just done. My hair's gonna do what it's gonna do, right?
Yeah.
But I wear scarves a lot.
He does.
And I wear
scarves.
I wear the
Yeah,
Jewish
yeah.
hat, especially in
the
my old
yarmulke.
days. I wore not the yarmulke, the page boy, the
Oh,
the
really?
Newsies
Yeah,
hat.
yeah.
You know, the Coming to America hat.
Oh, okay.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. I know what you're
That
saying.
was Steven Spielberg's look, and that everyone has a look. The greats have a look, and I think it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't matter what your look is.
That doesn't
Just
make
lean
you
into
great
it.
though. Is the look?
Even George Lucas with the weight he's put on and weight in certain areas. He gets mocked for the double chin a lot online. He still does the same beard that doesn't accent the double chin, but he still does it because it's his look, man. And respect, George Lucas. Respect. That's what I say.
Sure.
You're gonna find a look. You're gonna be super happy. You're not gonna look like a normal dude.
Right, but I'm also not gonna be doing my look so that I look the same for the cameras.
No, you do the look that's true to yourself, that expresses how you feel, and how you feel on the inside, or how you like to be perceived.
Yeah,
and then
having a look
stick
and
with
being
it.
comfortable because it's easy to do, that's fine. Having a look that you're doing because you're putting extra effort into looking that way, that's pretentious.
Freaking, who we talking about? One of the greatest right now, Chris Nolan. He's got the same look. Sometimes he lets a little facial hair stubble come in, but he wears suits and ties.
It doesn't look like
trench coats. Just
puts
trench
a
coats.
ton of effort. It looks like he throws on his suit.
It looks like
his look is he goes to set like he's going to
go.
church, man. Look, Chris Nolan has a specific look. Chris Nolan on set. He goes hard for his productions. All right? He's wearing a coat. Look at that. He's wearing a suit, a trench coat. Look, this is his look, man. And you can't tell me that it's wrong to look this way.
Yeah, it looks like he puts on a shirt and a jacket.
Yeah. Like a sports coat.
But he's intentional. He's been doing it with all of his movies, and
Right.
I think it's wonderful. You should have a look.
Right, but I'm not saying the look is. I'm saying the putting a ton of effort into making yourself look specific.
You're not going to change
Is
his mind on
pretentious.
this. You're not going to change his mind on this.
We're not going to change each other's mind. I'm just saying, sure, it's pretentious, but these creators that are brilliant are allowed to be pretentious about this.
You can have a look, just don't put all of your time and effort into making your look your personality. You know what I'm saying?
Chris Nolan.
This is coming from the guy. This is coming from the guy that is like Saturday morning. You're like, I've been thinking I should just get rid of all my clothes and just go knitted sweater and look. You said that to me last week.
But if I put all of my effort into looking that specific way, is that not pretentious?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But you're allowed to be pretentious.
I never denied that would be a pretentious thing to do.
Whatever. I'm. Who's not pretentious?
Who?
Karina.
Thanks.
You're
Cynthia.
really running my podcast well. Thanks.
Stop running it, Joshua. Stop running
Boy,
it.
it's like a well-oiled machine.
Stop running it. You do it.
Thank you, Cynthia, for being a part of the Patreon.
Look, Cynthia enjoys all kinds of cool stuff. Like our pre-show.
Karina's not
Podcast a week
either,
early.
Even though I said Karina.
Did you say Karina?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, because you didn't write the name
No,
here.
no.
I did.
That's why Josh is always trying to run stuff. He's trying to open, and
I
he
be
always does it
running.
wrong. He's trying to transition, and he always transitions in weird freaking ways. Who was the person you introduced next to you last
Maybe
week?
that's my bit. That's my new.
What? Just messing up. Just messing up, just stumbling your way, falling on your face.
transition. I kind of got rid of the catchphrases and then went.
I actually wanted to talk to you guys about this. We
Let's
can talk about it
just do
after
the
the Patreon.
But listen, Cynthia's the best. She enjoys all kinds of cool stuff. Something that just came out on the Patreon not long ago. We did a trailer reaction and a discussion about the trailer and the news that FX is doing a documentary on Hillsong. The secrets of Hillsong. And we did a video where we looked at the trailer, reacted to it, and then we discussed the situation, got into all the juicy details, got into a lot of personal opinions. And I'm going to be honest, it starts some fires under some people's butts.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying,
It's a good-
if
it's
you wanna be a part of
exclusive
that,
content.
you want to be a part of that, go to the Patreon, subscribe to one of the tiers that best fits your content needs.
Yeah.
And
if
like
you
Cynthia
guys see that video, comment down below. Tell us what you guys think.
Yeah, the Hillsong situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to
that'd be a
get into
juice.
some discussion about that.
Right.
What was I gonna say? I wanted to talk to you guys, and this is maybe an off podcast topic, but about transitions on the podcast. How do we move from one segment
No, we're not allowed to talk about
another?
No, we can do this.
How do we move from
We're not allowed
one
to his
talk about
podcast. He's allowed
How do
to
we
talk
move
about
from
this.
one segment to another?
We're not allowed to talk
without-
about the podcast on the podcast.
move from one segment to another without being like, and then this thing,
Right.
Without it always, whether you're making a joke or whether you're doing a segue or whether you're, moving along somebody else's podcast, why does it always feel like a road bump? Every time
It does
we
feel like a
switch,
road bump.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
trying not to.
A speed
Right.
bump.
I'm trying to not.
Okay, this I have a
But
theory.
you guys always
But here's
stop me.
That's part of the problem. That's
well, your
thing,
transition is a speed bump.
Your transition, our transitions. Anytime we're trying to move from one thing to another, no matter how we do it, I feel like it halts
Yes.
everything.
Because Joshua does this a lot, but we all kind of have the feeling that we have to stop talking about something else to get to the next thing.
To the next thing.
And we don't
but
need to do
I don't
that.
know that that's necessarily the problem. I think we need to make a concerted effort to be like, great, awesome, next thing.
Or it doesn't even have to be like next thing. We can literally just, and you have to kind of plan it out sometimes. So Joshua planning a transition is not bad, but the thing is, it has to be natural. So you have to kind of work into. So for example, if we go to a topic about, let's just say Castaway, right? Mm-hmm. Someone pops in a Wilson joke, or someone starts like we reference
segue.
Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm. That's a segue.
But it happens. That's not the topic.
Right.
The topic is Castaway, but you cushion it by just transitioning slowly.
That's parlaying into something else, and it still feels like a speed bump.
Right.
Because when you go, speaking of,
Some people transition with ads, and we don't do that.
Yeah.
true. I'm just saying, I don't know how we do it. We just need to figure out a way to transition the podcast from one segment to another. Next segment.
I mean, you know who's good at transitions with things? These streaming services. They, I was trying to.
You're really trying. Not good. Bad, in fact. Stop.
This is the speed bump we're talking about.
This is the exact speed bump.
Did you guys watch Star Wars Vision?
It's not
with-
the next segment.
Oh, dang it.
Stop trying to run the podcast.
Absolutely not the next segment.
Go for it, Wyatt.
I was trying.
I don't remember what the next segment is. Oh, yeah. This movie that came out yesterday.
Okay, Blackberry. What is this about?
Have you guys seen this?
No, I haven't heard of it. I have not
what
heard of
streaming
it at all.
service
Okay.
is it on?
Hold on.
I
It's not on a streaming service. It came out in theaters.
Oh, okay.
Let me
pull up a trailer?
We are going to watch a trailer.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna trailer it.
Yeah, let me talk about this.
Okay.
So, before we get into this, I want to give a little bit of backstory.
Yeah.
I've been watching the Always Sunny in Philadelphia TV show, along with the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast, because I'm really interested about how they filmed this show and how they see the show 20 years later.
Yep.
Okay.
Pause it.
I am.
So, both Glenn Howerton, who plays Dennis, and Charlie Day, who plays Charlie, came out with movies yesterday.
Okay.
Charlie's movie was called Fool's Paradise, and it's a big kind of like Hollywood comedy drama thing.
Right.
And I actually think it's Rob Liotta's last movie. Thank goodness it's not Cocaine Bear. That will be his last film.
Thank goodness.
But there's a lot of big people in that one.
Yeah.
That one came out yesterday, along with Blackbarry, which is Glenn Howerton is one of the stars in
Talking
Blackbarry.
about the creation of Blackberry.
Talking about the creation of Blackberry.
The Blackberry
Okay.
phone.
The Blackberry phone. And I was looking at the ratings. Fool's Paradise isn't tracking so great on Rotten Tomatoes. Blackberry is like getting 90s
Yeah.
in critics and audience scores.
Just killing it.
Killing it. And my question is, both of these trailers have over 1 million views.
Mm-hmm.
Why weren't we seeing them on the trending tab?
Fool's
Paradise has
suppression.
so like over like 1.7 million views.
I heard whispers of Blackberry, but I didn't know about the other film, and it wasn't a lot.
But when we go and we look for trailers, why wasn't a trailer starring, Rob Liotta, Charlie Day, Ken Jeong, so many other big actors and actresses.
Why was it not coming
Why
up?
wasn't that coming up? Why wasn't this with...
Is anybody canceled in this film?
No.
Okay.
I don't think
know.
so.
Can I watch
Probably
the trailer?
'cause it was
I'm itching.
What is it? IFX?
IFC Films.
IFC.
Yeah,
That's
so
why.
let's
That's
hit
why.
this.
Yeah, what can I do for you? Okay, picture a cell phone and an email machine all in one thing. There is a free wireless internet signal all across North America, and nobody has figured out how to use it. It's like the Force. Sorry, have you seen Star Wars? No.
These guys, these characters are funny.
That guy is sketchy. I don't think he's sketchy. The guy's a shark. I know how to market it, and I know who we can sell it to. But I want 50% of the company, and I've got to be CEO. I don't know who you think you are. Oh, deal. Are you joking? We are in a race to get this thing to market, and we are a year behind. I need a prototype. I'll do it perfectly, or I don't do it. Mike, are you familiar with the saying, perfect is the enemy of good? Well, good enough is the enemy of humanity. What do you call it? It's called a Blackberry. Try typing with your thumbs. Get this baby in the hands of every Fortune 500 executive you can find. We call them crackberries. Sure, Doug, come with us, or? No. You want to be great? You need to sacrifice. And the more painful the sacrifice,
Oh.
the greater you'll be. If we put more phones on these networks, they're going to crash. Is this it? We need to sell 1 million Blackberries. We're in the middle of a hostile takeover!
Do you know what the sentence is for a multi-million-dollar stock fraud?
What are you doing? I'm doing it all. You guys have no idea how to run a company. I created this entire market. You said they
Okay.
were the best engineers in the world. I said they're the best engineers in Canada.
Okay.
I've never seen this trailer.
I shouldn't say. They're paying me $10 million. Yeah, me too.
I've never seen this trailer.
Yeah.
What an awesome trailer.
I like it.
That was really good.
I love Jobs about this. Steve Jobs. I love
Social Network.
Social Network about
But I mean, doesn't this make sense that this would be
Yes.
the next one? Blackberry, which rose to popularity. It was the biggest thing on the planet.
and then
Gone.
yeah. I love it. I'm really into this, and I love the humor behind it.
I want to watch this. And he actually, Glenn Howerton actually shaved his head to be bald.
That's yeah. I do remember like the iPhone was coming out, so it just like demolished the BlackBerry.
The cool thing about
you know
these
way
is-
more with the iPhone.
Yeah, it's entertaining content. Like if you watch Jobs, you understand why there was so much weird back and forth controversy with Apple products during certain periods of time, because you educate and you get to be told the story. That's what this is.
It's dramatized, but a lot of times having that dramatized story gets people in the know about, like, I was watching the Always Sunny podcast, and Glenn was talking about actually meeting the man that he's playing. And he's like, he's a very serious guy. He said he's never seen a movie more than twice, except for, or more than once. He never watches a movie twice except for this one.
Okay.
He said he told him, it was like, it's not really exactly how things went down. He said, but he really enjoyed it.
Nice.
He really enjoyed his portrayal. It's like, and because he's a super serious, kind of angry executive guy.
Yeah.
But it was cool that he got to meet him and talk to him and play this character, this interesting guy
So this is out in theaters right now.
right now.
So when
Well,
I don't-
it was a couple weeks
Right,
ago
right.
when we filmed this.
So I want to see. This is the kind of movie that a lot of people don't see in theaters, but it can blow up in streaming or afterwards.
Put
It
this
can.
on
The
something.
popularity absolutely can blow this up, because this is not a cinematic masterpiece. You don't have to go to the theaters to watch this.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely watching this when this comes out, because this is right up my freaking alley.
I want to watch this and the other one.
It's kind of interesting you say that, because I remember when Jobs came out with Ashton Kutcher. I went and watched one movie. I think it was Turtles. You didn't want to watch that. You're like, let's go watch Jobs instead. So you went and watched Jobs. I watched Turtles. And I remember walking out of the theater. How would you think? And you were like, didn't like it. Didn't like it in the theater. 2 months ago, you said you watched. You're like,
It's an incredible movie.
But
also,
he performed great.
I watched Jobs when I was like in 9th grade, 8th grade. So I wasn't
Yes,
fully appreciating the complexities of the
Or the
storytelling.
performances. I remember
performances.
watching The Social Network, and I
Yeah.
was like, this is kind of a long, boring movie. But now I look at it, I was like, those performances were fantastic.
But I think you also
I
were upset
know.
because it wasn't a theater movie. And you went to the theater.
It's
and
not a
watched it.
theater movie, and you don't have to go to the theaters. And honestly, with this movement of movies coming out in theaters and on streaming networks, we need to really prioritize and define what is a theater movie and what is a movie you should watch at home, and maximize.
I mean, that used to be what the theaters decided.
Right, but maximize.
You went and watched it, and you were like, you didn't tell your friends about it. It didn't make any money. It was a home movie. It wasn't a theater movie.
Straight to streaming.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff's going straight to streaming, and a lot of stuff's being put in theaters. We need to have a defined category. Like, honestly, maybe IMAX, the company, is going to define what is a theater movie and what is not. Because Barbie, I don't know if that's something that's a theater movie. It's going to get a lot of money in the theaters.
Yeah.
But is that a theater movie? No. Theaters are the experience. And it could be the joining, watching together experience.
Here's the thing.
As well.
It's always up to people.
Yeah.
I think any movie that you go and watch the theater is a theater movie because you decided to go and watch it, and that should be up to a person to decide.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? You shouldn't. If you want to watch Barbie in the theater, you should get to decide that.
Yes.
It shouldn't have to go straight to streaming.
So you're right. But, things like Dune was in theaters, but so many people,
Watched it at
fools
home.
included, watched it at home
But
and
that
didn't
was
go to
'cause
the
of
theaters and watch
COVID,
it.
though. That
It
wasn't-
wasn't because of COVID, because it was in the theaters.
Right.
People didn't go.
Yeah.
Because of COVID.
And
Well, we were on the tail end of that.
you could have went. I went.
Us going or someone else going is different, though.
Just saying, there are certain movies that you should watch at home because you're going to appreciate it. It's like a family or a couple
Do
experience.
you think people are going to enjoy this in the theater?
I think they're going to
No.
enjoy it, but
When
it's
it
not
comes
going.
out.
It's not going to.
You
They would
think people
enjoy
are
it just
gonna
as much
enjoy
at
this
home.
more at home.
They would enjoy
okay.
it just as much at home. And honestly, if people are wanting to watch this twice, if it's just a funny, good movie, people want to watch these kind of movies at home. They do not want to go to the theaters and watch this because it's like, yeah, I'm glad I saw this like one of the first people to watch it because I went to the theater, but that's really the only thing you get. I watched it first.
I
you know?
think Glenn Howerton's gonna have a standout performance. as that kid. I like Jay. I like Jay. What's his name? Barachal.
From
How do you
Always
pronounce
Sunny.
it? No. Jay from like How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh.
Yes.
I like
don't
him.
know his name,
I
but
think
yeah.
he's a good actor. But I think
You get a lot of screen time in that
it's
trailer.
the same thing you get in The Social Network with what's his name, Andrew Garfield. That line that everybody quotes where he's like, "Yeah, I'm coming back. I'm not coming back for 15%. I'm coming back for 100%."
Yeah.
Right. I think it's gonna be a performance like that.
Freaking
you're gonna
Andrew
get you're gonna get
Garfield,
some
man.
moments like that.
Andrew, I forget how good Andrew was in
Dude,
Social
that-
Network.
That scene it's one of the best film scenes I think ever in cinema is when he walks in,
Right,
and
right.
he
Andrew
goes on
Garfield's
that
got some solid
tirade.
stuff.
Andrew Garfield's an incredible actor.
Yeah.
And everyone hates on his Spider-Man, but I think
I
he
don't
might have
hate on
been
his. I think
I
he
think
was a
he
good
might have been the
Spider-Man.
best Peter Parker in my
I think
opinion.
he was
totally.
I think he was a really good Spider-Man, but I think his performances outside of Spider-Man are better than his performance
I would
as
100% agree.
Spider-Man.
He's really freaking good.
Same way I think of with Henry Cavill. I think a lot of his performances outside being Superman, along with being Superman,
Andrew Garfield's
are
not
good.
been in any animated movies, has he?
Like voice acting?
Yeah, I'm curious what his voice acting would be like.
I don't know.
His on-screen performance is so strong. It's kind of it's almost like he thrives there.
Yeah,
you know?
So I thought this was interesting.
Spreading the good news.
Not
of
only
Blackbarry.
Blackbarry came out, Charlie Day's movie came out, and then the other guy, Rob McElhenney, owns a soccer team in Wrexham with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So these guys who started Always Sunny as they were three kind of actors, writers.
Which give a shout out to their podcast you've been talking
It's the
about.
Always Sunny podcast.
Always Sunny podcast.
I think it's interesting that they are really kind of coming into fame now.
Okay. Probably because of podcasting.
It's because their show's been on for
like 16 years.
seasons.
Sure.
And I think it's super interesting that these guys who've been on TV for so long are now becoming stars.
Right.
They're becoming people that others recognize now and are doing big things now.
But if you're on the internet and have a podcast, you can
their podcast gets millions of views.
Yeah, you can skyrocket your ability to go.
But it's kind of
have a
theirs
solid
is kind of a
fandom.
rewatch podcast where it's like, here's an old episode of Sunny. They've been going through the seasons and they talk about it sometimes, but it's kind of like what we do.
Yeah.
You have a topic, but then you just kind of end up talking about other stuff.
That's important. That's kind of the friendship
But
buddy
that's
too.
Blackberry. I thought it was a super interesting looking film. I
Yeah.
think Fool's Paradise is also an interesting looking film. Not really great reviews on that one. But I also don't trust the Rotten Tomatoes
all the time, unless
all
it's
the
just
time.
across the board good.
Yeah.
Speaking of like podcasts that from people like this, do you think James Roday and Dooley Hill would make a good podcast?
A good rewatch podcast? Absolutely. A good.
What do you mean by rewatch podcast?
Where they take old episodes of Psych and they go, here's
Commentary
how,
on it.
Yeah, commentary rewatch podcasts, which are really hot right now.
They are. They
If
could
they-
capitalize. They can't do a fourth movie. Do a rewatch podcast.
Do some rewatch podcasts.
Do
where you
commit
talk
to like
about
30
some
podcast
of those
episodes and do
old
commentary
episodes,
on it.
because people want to hear about the writing of the comedy. They want to hear about the directing.
Yeah, put that up on Peacock. Just do a small production. Get Dooley Hill, James Roday, in a room that's stylized. They have all the cameras there. Could be like, you don't have to spend any more than like $15,000 on the whole production for like a 30 episode podcast that's get posted on something like Peacock or Peacock YouTube. You know what I mean?
Limited podcast.
Limited podcast. It's
Limited
just
podcast,
commentary.
yeah.
It's a podcast
Sounds good.
commentary on Psych episodes. Wouldn't that be incredible?
And people, one thing I've noticed
Peacock
about
YouTube
the
channel.
Sunny
Grow that
podcast,
YouTube channel.
people love when they have the guests on.
Yeah.
So they like the three guys, but then they love when Danny DeVito comes on.
Yeah.
He's been on, I think, once. They love when Kate Olsen comes on. They love when David Hornsby comes on. They, because they want to see those characters that are in the show.
And honestly, Friendship Onion's been doing this for the Lord of the Rings stuff. They're the only ones out there still trumpeting Lord of the Rings fandom right now.
Yeah.
Is what's his? What are their actors' names? I always forget them because they're. I just want to say Merry and Pippin, Dom Monahan and Billy Boyd.
Yeah, big fan you are.
Look,
He remembered him.
I remembered him. It took me a
I'll give
second.
it to him.
Billy Boyd and Dom Monahan.
And Elijah Wood's on there.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but they're trumpeting the Lord of the Rings fandom by themselves on their YouTube and Spotify channels by themselves.
Yeah.
No one else is helping them. They're just like, this is an opportunity, and we want to talk and hang out. You know what I mean?
And that's cool. I like that.
Absolutely. And they're still going strong. How many episodes deep are we into the friendship onion at this point?
I don't know. I listened to a few and then and I never got around to just continuing. And not that that's bad or anything. I just
Let's see here. How many episodes deep are we? So, all right. 134 videos.
Hey,
Are they doing clips? No, these are just full episodes.
full episodes.
And
They got a lot.
yeah.
They don't give us the number, but if these are all just full episodes, we're talking 143
Yeah.
episodes.
But 4 months
Sick.
ago was the last time they posted.
Yeah, maybe they're taking a break. Maybe someone's doing a movie.
Uh-oh.
Oh, indeed.
That's when it starts to
Taper. I don't want it to taper.
Right.
I want to see stuff like that keep going.
Well, that's I've watched a number of. I've searched for like kind of these rewatch podcasts. I've looked at the Friendship Onion, and I thought it was really. The numbers for the Always Sunny podcast are really surprising to me because they're in the millions.
Right.
Each podcast.
A lot of people like it.
Yeah.
A lot of people love it.
I mean, I don't watch Always Sunny. You've been watching it since not since the beginning, but you started at the beginning.
yeah.
And you're on season 6 now.
Season 6.
And I came in the other day and I was like, oh, this looks totally different from season 2.
The writing's
season
changed
2
too.
was the footage was even grainy. It was not great and
They talk about
very
that
cheaply done.
a lot on the podcast. They're like, we just had bad cameras.
So something in the show around like 5, 6 was
Shifted.
shifted to where they upped their production quality.
They started
and
actually
something.
getting recognized as people were fans of the shows,
Right.
Because there was no social media back then. No internet where people were, no big fandoms where you could really see the feedback. It was just studio ratings,
Right.
which were often skewed.
Yes.
Right? To get out of the performers and directors what they wanted to get out of them.
And that's common. I mean, it doesn't always happen as many seasons as Always Sunny has done, but that is very common with shows as well,
But yeah, it's interesting. It's cool to see. Moving on.
Boom, boom. Maybe that's the trend.
I was trying to give you this transition earlier.
Yeah, you were.
You
for it.
recognized it with Andrew Garfield.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hit it. Hit the button.
Vision.
Boom. Wrong. Wrong. You were wrong.
Pointing.
Oh
You've been
my
tricked. You saw the Star Wars visions. I did that on purpose to trick you.
Is this really what we're talking about again?
Hit the button. No, we're going to talk about Star Wars visions. That was just a joke on Josh. Just wanting to get
Because
it.
Joshua hates talking about Dune.
I have
Even
no
though-
No, I understand. He doesn't want to talk about it every episode.
I have no problem talking about Dune, but all we've gotten so far is one trailer. One trailer.
That's enough,
And
bro.
we've done
It's enough.
5 videos on
Big
it.
trailer.
It's enough.
We've done 5 videos on
I got
one
more.
trailer.
I got more in the bag. More coming. I don't need another trailer.
By the time we were done talking about Elvis stuff and Dune stuff last year, I was Elvis and Dune out.
Look, right now,
and
this
we
year,
got tons of subscribers from all of those videos. And
yeah.
talk.
And listen, this year until they both come out, we're rotating Oppenheimer, Dune, Oppenheimer, Dune.
So that was the other
No.
thing. I was going to have an Oppenheimer
Yeah.
segment. I was like, if we don't have a Dune segment, we're having an Oppenheimer
Exactly.
segment.
We're look
No.
the two
No.
most interesting things to us coming out this
Okay,
year.
what about Vision?
So I don't want to, because we haven't finished Visions all the way.
No,
We've
we've
watched
watched most of it.
a lot of it. What I really want to talk about, we can breeze past. We noticed every lead character is a woman.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
everyone.
good job, Star Wars. Thanks. That's diversity.
All the men died
That's
in all the
that's
universe.
inclusion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's looking like it's not looking like this as much as it's looking like this.
Yes.
Aside,
Everything looked beautiful. Just
excellent animations.
excellent animation and design for
Yeah.
the animation style. Story very lacking. Most
But
episodes
these are short
didn't feel
episodes.
good.
You know what?
the story.
Can I do a quick detour?
Yeah.
Screw everybody that says that men dominated Hollywood back in the day. The 2 biggest movies in Hollywood back in the day. Freaking, what is the one about the Civil War?
Don't say
Yeah.
don't say what I think you're gonna say.
The biggest one. The lead is a female.
Oh.
The Sound of Music.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't the Civil War.
I'm not talking about, there's 2 movies. Sound of Music's one of them. The other one is
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Both of those movies, star lead, woman, hundreds. They're so long, there's got to be hundreds of scenes where they are not talking to or talking about a man, okay?
Yeah. No, it's almost like
Screw everybody that says that Hollywood was
almost
dominated.
like
The
a lot
2
of it's
biggest films.
fucking annoying. But you're right.
You know what I thought you were gonna say?
What?
I thought you were gonna say The Wizard of Oz, and then I would have been like, well, you know, The Wizard
Wizard
of
of
Oz.
Oz as well.
It is. Yeah.
It is about
It
Dorothy.
is.
It is.
But you know how much hardship happened because of that film.
There was a lot.
Sure,
of
there was
behind-the-scenes
abusive
things
things,
going on.
but that's internal.
But again, female lead.
Female lead, yeah.
So aside from that issue, beautiful animations, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
I want to talk about.
His animation.
Why isn't Star Wars picking something like this middle one right here with
Right.
with the one man in the very
the
center with the lightsaber?
Is that a
Anime-
man? Is that an animan?
Yeah,
The anime style one?
yeah. Great animation in that one.
Hmm.
Incredible. And then the other one, that girl with the red hair and the rosy cheeks. Yeah, so that's a very much kind of like the the book of, I forget.
I don't know all the animation
Right,
stuff you watch.
it's kind of a Irish, Scottish
Okay.
animation that they've been doing. That one, awesome. Why is Star Wars not picking one of these and rolling with it?
What do you mean rolling with it? You mean
show.
an animation style?
Doing a show.
Well,
because people
Think of
would
all these as proof of
eat
concepts.
Proof
a
of concept,
show.
and they probably don't have. They might not have the rights.
Don't
to
tell
them.
me they don't have a budget.
Okay, honestly,
They got the
honestly,
budget.
freaking until Kathleen Kennedy's out, and you got someone who actually knows Star Wars to get involved. They are not even thinking about this because right now all they think, like, they're not paying attention to this. This is like a under the radar project. Okay,
Kinda.
Yes, it is. No one gives a crap. The people in charge of Star Wars, all they're thinking about is live action everything. Let's get as many live actions out as possible. You know.
I just think you
We
could-
got one animation for the kids. It's about the droids or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's in happening or already happened. Nobody heard about. Everything's live action, and they're like, that's all they can think about: remakes and redos and live action.
I just think you could build a really good show around pick an animation style. Don't do Star Wars, the Clone Wars again. We've seen it. It's 3D. Do a 3D cell shaded thing,
Right.
like
Yeah.
Arcane. They did a couple of those in this. They did the one where it kind of looks like claymation. They did the one that looks like claymation.
Yeah.
They did the one that kind of looks like claymation.
Yeah.
And that one was
The trailer for that one looks awesome.
that one that they had a really good thematics in that one. It's very dark.
With the TIE fighter coming through.
Yeah.
Looked really. All of these looked really good. Even the claymation one felt like a Wallace and Gromit
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
It was funny. It was fun. And then just pick one.
What's your favorite animation out of all of this? What is the one you desperately want to see a show
in
on?
my opinion, there was a few that
Not based on the story, just the style of animation.
that were even though I liked them for one episode, they were too much stylized in art. They were trying to be in art form to where I don't think you can do a show because it would have taken away from the story.
Yes, I think the one that would be a show the best is the anime style.
Maybe.
This one?
The one that would make an incredible movie is the girl with the red hair. That one would make a really good
What do you
movie.
think of realistic animation? I think for Star Wars, I think this would be dope. Realistic animation?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be cool.
Because you
They
can
kinda-
do cool
they kinda
animated
had that,
things,
though,
but it feels
with
as like
the
a
Clone
real
Wars.
I would say
No, it's still
I would
very
say go
that's
more
just
realistic.
that's just 3D animation.
Yeah,
like this
I would
is
say go more realistic.
this is you can tell when you look at the faces that it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
But you might just see a lightsaber and like a pair of gloves, and you might think, "Oh, that could be real." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the
I
cool
would
part.
say go with realism, especially if you're going to do stuff like, the Clone Wars focused on the clones a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some episodes you didn't have Jedi in it. You just had clones doing military stuff.
right.
The way the real animation would work super well for those kinds of
Yeah,
episodes.
and you know what I want to see? I want to see Star Wars almost make shows, like one-off shows. So like if Andor doesn't get a season 2, something like that. But do it in like realism animation style that just builds like all the books that are considered lore. Build these series that are just showing on screen in this realism animation style lore for Star Wars. But give us some of the coolest visuals and coolest moments, but stay consistent with the lore that exists and just do it exactly. I think that would be
there's
cool.
a book that somebody wrote that comes out between it's supposedly like between episode 1 or episode A New Hope and
Right.
Empire, where it's Han Solo and a group of other people do a heist.
Cool. That'd be awesome.
Do that in an animated movie.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome movie.
And you can animate someone that like a character that's animated, obviously, but resembles freaking Harrison Ford. And you don't have to recast any of that. You just have to recast the voice. And there's a lot of Harrison
there's
Ford
so many
interpretations.
voice actors.
You can do it.
It would be awesome.
Yes, and
That I would. What's that?
stop doing all the news stories and just focus like 5 years on just building a fan service lore base series of animation.
Dude, some really solid animated, and don't homogenize them and make them all look the same.
No.
Nobody wants
Change it
that.
up like you did with this show.
Yeah, an entire season. Even like you could do that one book as a limited season. 4 episodes of this heist story.
Yeah.
It'd
Just
be awesome.
give it to us. We know the characters. Give us more of what we love. I think that would be fun. Do you think so?
Maybe, yeah.
Because, you just get to sample it with these shows,
Right.
these episodes.
It's a sample platter. I want the whole meal.
Right. You want a meal, and you don't want that meal 2 days in a row. You know what I
Right.
mean? So we're
I
talking.
want that meal and I want some seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure. But I think if Star Wars was smart, and if you get Kathleen Kennedy and everybody who's just pushing the narrative on these
But they're
stupid,
not.
Kathleen Kennedy's getting pushed out. Disney's not happy.
Yeah.
They're not happy. Disney's not freaking happy.
They
There's
gotta
already
do something. They got to do
Well,
something.
they already said that she's out once Indiana Jones 5 is out. She's done.
I don't know. I don't know that she's going to be out.
Nothing works and nobody's happy. And I'm telling you, more and more, especially when YouTube and Google and these companies are rubbing shoulders with the executives, at
Ew.
Disney.
Don't do that.
Yeah, why are they rubbing?
They're rubbing shoulders, all right? They go to the same parties. They go to the same gatherings.
Probably.
You can't tell me that the executive of Google or Alphabet isn't going up to the executive of Disney
Executive.
and saying, there's a lot of people on my platform that hates your
That are
work,
upset
that are
about what's
upset
going on,
about
yeah.
what's going on in your company, and you're not gonna. And
Yeah.
you,
I
they
can see
know,
that kind of stuff
they
happening.
know, they
Yeah.
just are choosing to ignore it. But at some point, they're not gonna ignore it much longer because there's diehard fans. I have once a week. I have a conversation with a diehard Star Wars fan, and once a week. I get her to dislike another thing about Star Wars because I just explained to her, this is why this is BS. And she's like, dang it, you're right. So, and she's liking it less and less and
Now
less.
that I actually pay attention,
I don't know
you're
though.
right.
I don't know though. I think the California world that they put themselves in is a whole other thing. They don't see what we see in the other.
But once
not
I think
outside of
matter.
California.
the money has already started talking for Disney.
Yeah, that's
they're
why they're
not
fine.
making enough money.
Disney's
so
paying attention now. They will start paying
I
attention
think
in
the
next couple
executives
years.
are going to start having. They have to pivot. They have to.
They
'cause
will.
They're
and
losing
getting
money.
rid of Kathleen Kennedy is definitely on the table. Like I would say probably 80%, 80 to 90% chance that Kathleen Kennedy's gone in the next year or two. 100. Like,
but they won't fire her.
no, of course not. But it doesn't matter. It's all the same. She's
we
leaving
sitting at
for
time-wise?
family reasons.
an hour 15, hour 20.
Okay.
She's leaving to spend more time with her family.
right,
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen,
I don't have another segment after this.
That's fine.
I had one.
what was it?
I deleted it
Why?
because I just couldn't find any.
Can you sample it?
No.
Are you trying to resurrect it later?
I might resurrect it later.
My resurrect.
Yeah.
Was there
because
anything
I
else
didn't have
that-
enough to talk about.
I got you. I'm deep diving into. Do you guys think we're gonna get another The Batman by Matt Reeves?
Yeah.
Because he's not doing the
Again,
Penguin show.
It made too much money.
Sure, but he's not doing the Penguin show, and there's no talk of him doing another Batman. I'm just saying, like, it was so good, but there's nobody. Like, usually, like, they announced Dune Part 2 right after it got successful. They announced Joker 2 right after everyone loved it.
Yeah.
They announce things once it works.
Mhm.
Why is Matt Reeves not responding to another Batman?
They've talked about it.
It's
There's
like
going to
the-
be another one.
Like the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix said, no, that film almost killed me. When I got so skinny, I did all this. I put way too much in it. I cannot do a second movie. I cannot.
And then
now
they
they're doing a
give you
second
3 times the amount of money. He's like, oh,
one. Yeah,
I'll
he's getting
probably
paid
almost die.
so much. I don't know how much Joaquin's getting paid for the Joker too, but a lot of money.
I'm just saying, Matt Reeves, and if you do, freaking Greg Fraser, 100%.
Yeah.
He's just as much a part of that movie as Matt is.
You can't do another Batman movie following the first one
Without Greg.
without Greg. Part of the thing I think that people loved about the movie was how it looks.
And also, and it's not just Greg is the one who filmed it, but once he wasn't involved with the process of turning it into film.
Yeah.
And then it was a whole different team, and I don't know that guy's name, but I got to get to know him a little bit because he is a master as well.
Speaking of sequels, there's some that got announced this week. I don't know if this was your segment or not, but maybe we can speculate on what season 2 is going to be for The Bear. June 22nd.
You know, people aren't talking about The Bear season 2 that much.
They didn't talk about the first season, though.
I'm just saying if they would talk about season 2 because everyone talked about
They will talk about season 2 as it's coming
Season
out.
1, nobody talked about it until it was out. Like, it came out, and there was whispers like, oh, this is a good show.
Mm-hmm.
We got a hold of it. I just popped it on one day, and I was like, because I'm curious. I loved it. I was like, Wyatt, you got to watch this. I got Wyatt to watch it. And then,
I didn't want to, and then he threw it on. I was like, wait a second, hold on.
Yeah. We were hooked as soon as we watched it. Nobody talked about it, though.
Look,
there was no advertising or anything.
You're right. The thing is, the guy who, what is his name? Is it Jeremy something?
Jeremy
White? Jeremy something White? Jeremy White
maybe.
something.
He played Lip
Jeremy
on
Allen
Shameless.
White?
Yeah.
White Allen?
Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah,
You're
Jeremy
right.
Allen White.
So when he was on Shameless, I knew he stood out. Him and the girl who plays Fiona. I still don't know her name. They stood above the rest. Kind
She was
of.
in that one trailer with
She was
Tom
in that
Holland.
one trailer with Tom Holland. And I knew their acting stood above the rest, 100%. And Jeremy's was in Shameless as a young kid, right? So even as a kid, he was really good. So when I saw advertisements for The Bear, I was thinking, this is a natural progression of things. This guy's too talented for him to not be doing other roles. And I knew it was going to be awesome. But you're right, nobody was talking about it. It's like you almost didn't know you were going to love it and how incredible, like left in awe that you were going to be about The Bear. Unless you saw Shameless, then you kind of saw it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's Shameless, it's wild.
How do you think they're going to do the second season? Because, so the first one he kind of said the beef is no more, it's going to be The Bear. Right? That's
I
how it
think
ended?
you guys already had this theory. What was your theory?
Is it just going to be following the
It has
restaurant
so,
again?
So they've already established that this is a well-oiled machine. They can make professional food and be a professional kitchen. Now you have to throw a wrench into that somehow. Is it going to be a competing restaurant? Is it going to be health inspectors?
Is it going to be mental illness?
Is it going to be mental illness?
We got some new characters here.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of stuff coming. And
Only about
we'll
like a
see.
month away. Well, actually a month when this comes out.
So I guess we'll see. We'll see how much people talk about it when season 2 comes out. It is Hulu, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is Hulu.
Hulu, which people don't talk about Hulu stuff as much. We
Because
talked about the
traditionally
Boston
Hulu's Boston Strangler,
but
Keira Knightley.
we don't
Look,
talk
every
about Hulu
every
a
now
lot.
and then. Well, here's the thing. Every now and then, a Hulu banger comes out, but it does get limited talk.
Yeah.
As
Well,
much
that's
as
like
people
I
like The
heard-
Bear, still a lot of people didn't
I
see
heard
it.
the documentary from for Ryan Reynolds' soccer team, something Wrexham.
Yeah.
That's critically acclaimed.
And it's on Hulu?
And it's on Hulu, and it doesn't get any
I've never
talk.
heard of it.
It came out a couple. Yeah, exactly.
Never
Maybe we
heard
should
of
watch
this.
it. Maybe we should watch
Rob
it.
McElhenney, Ryan Reynolds did this whole documentary where they filmed about the town and about the soccer players, and I don't know how far the team got, but they did really well.
Yeah.
And
And you know what's crazy
nobody's
about
talking
Hulu?
about it.
Disney. Hulu's a Disney streaming service. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah, Hulu was the OG. Like, Hulu is a branch of Disney. So Disney did have a streaming service before Disney Plus. They just weren't putting all their Disney movies
I've
on
heard that sometime this year or next year they're gonna launch a Hulu Disney combined streaming service.
it. Probably. And that would make sense, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. Thanks for watching the podcast. Check out our stuff on the studio channel. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.